Oh, sugar honey iced tea. It's the EAC Show.
Good day, ladies and gents. I'm Emilio A. Colon, and welcome to the EAC Show, coming to you from sunny South Florida. Got Marcus Mack and the big one, UCF activist, overall sports enthusiast, Cameron Denton with me on the Zoom call. We're doing episode 24. Guys, what's going on, man?
Yo, how we doing?
Marcus Mack, you looking good you ready for opening day, man? You got Chicago Cubs jersey, the Chicago Cubs hat.
Bro,
Who you rocking with, Marcus? Whose jersey is that?
It's Cubs.
Okay, gotcha.
There's no name on the back, I don't think. Is there, Marcus? Is there a name on the back? Oh, Rizzo.
Hey, there you go, man. Come on. Hometown.
Come on home.
Let's go.
Yeah, nah, man, but I'm hanging in there. I had a long day today, man.
How was your guys' weekend? Everything was all right?
Everything was straight. Everything was, pretty normal. Like I said on the last show, just trying to keep the mind busy here, but pretty much doing the same exact things. Fired up the old Xbox. Was trying to see what was good with that. Gotten into new books. I mean, it's the same thing, man. Just trying to get through this thing.
Yeah, absolutely agree. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. This weekend was extremely enjoyable. A lot of downtime, a lot of family time, a lot of thank God for the WWE and Vince McMahon for putting together a Wrestlemania. Although there was no fans, it still was a 2-day extravaganza, a very, very well put out event. I mean, I love every minute of it. Anything that keeps the mind off everything that's going on in the crazy world right now, I applaud. So shout out to Vince McMahon and all those guys at the WWE that put together an amazing event, and congratulations to the new WWE champion, Drew McIntyre, who becomes the first, if I'm not mistaken, wrestler from the UK to be heavyweight champion of the world.
First coronavirus Wrestlemania champion. Big shout out to Vince McMahon for keeping it going. It was nice to see it. It was a great show. I watched a little bit of it. But as I was watching, it felt great to watch some live sports. It almost felt like I was doing something illegal.
You know what was enjoyable, Marcus Mack and Cameron? You could hear the wrestlers and the referee. Like, you could hear them. Like, you were getting that vibe, that literally, like, that behind the scenes, that exclusive footage that you normally don't get because the fans are so raucous and the announcers are so loud. You actually heard, the fighters, whether they were women or whether they were men, like, they're talking, their smack talk that they give to each other. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, no, I agree. So it sort of gives you a different element of what we know wrestling to be. Obviously, the fans do make a sport like that better, but it's got to be a little bit more challenging to the actual wrestlers or actors because, everyone knows that wrestling, it has a real element to it, but it is scripted, for the most part. There's a routine that they do out there that they practice. So they like it loud. So if they need to change things or adapt while in the ring, they could like talk out loud to each other, whoever the person's fighting, sort of whisper in their ear. So I was reading something to where they weren't allowed to do that because there was no fans. If the mics picked it up, they don't want to give off the impression that it's scripted, even though the underlying
everybody knows.
Right, everyone knows it is, right. But it was cool to watch it like that, differently, without fans.
Now, Marcus Mack, I'm going to fill you in. I don't know, Cam, if you know the story already. I did a little bit of, before I watched the WrestleMania main event between Drew McIntyre and the champion at the time, Brock Lesnar. Drew McIntyre actually was anointed the future of the WWE like 12 to 13 years ago. Really? And just going down, not necessarily doing anything wrong, but not becoming that star that Vince McMahon anointed him, thinking that he was going to be like the head prospect. He didn't win not one title until last night, and now he's the WWE champion, heavyweight champion of the world, and it's crazy because he literally waited almost like 13, 14 years to win this title.
Yeah, and sometimes it can be like that. Early on in his career, it didn't go the way he thought it was going to go. He's a big dude, so it's nice to see him win, a major bout here. He's sort of like the Ricky Fowler of wrestling. You could never win that major.
Marcus Mack, if you could pull it up, see how big Drew McIntyre, this massive of a man from Scotland, is. I mean, he resides now in Tampa, Florida, but he's huge.
Speaking of Tampa, Florida, this is completely off topic. Did you see the house that Tom Brady's living in, Derek Jeter's house?
Yeah, I mean, hats off to Derek. Hats off to Derek Jeter because he bought that a gazillion years ago. Like,
Right.
he
Property
bought,
value probably skyrocketed because not only is it on the water, on the Tampa Bay, but I mean, Tampa as a city has grown so many young professionals over the last few years. So that property value probably skyrocketed. And now just Tom Brady's living in this house. I mean, that's a sick setup. His setup is unreal. He's living in
my thing is why is it vacant? Why is it empty? What does Jeter have that's vacant?
Maybe he was renting it out.
Maybe.
You know what I'm saying? Maybe he was just renting it out for a while or was living in it and then moved down to Miami once he bought the Marlins. So that it could have just been a house that he went back and forth to. He doesn't need the money. He doesn't need to rent it out, you know?
Marcus Mack, you pulled it up?
Yeah, he's 6'5", 240. Nice.
That's a big boy, man. He's huge. He's a big dude. He's a huge dude, man.
That's beefy right there.
Hats off to him for sticking in wrestling for so long and finally getting, becoming WWE champion. That's amazing. That's a very, very big feat. I know that today is Social Media Monday, so we're going to tackle Social Media Monday after the promo Marcus Mack, and we're basically going to end up starting our over-under on regular season NFL wins that we continue to do. We still got a couple teams left. I think we've done 15 teams in total, so we still got a few more teams left. We got another 5 that we're going to talk about now. You got those 5, Cam?
I do. I got them pulled up. I'm actually excited for today's lineup here. We're going to start off with the AFC West and the Chargers and the Broncos. We're then going to we're going to go over to the NFC and speak about my Green Bay Packers, the San Francisco 49ers, and the Seattle Seahawks. So that's a group of team.
So we'll start off with the LA Chargers, who most likely going to end up going with Tyrod Taylor as their quarterback if they don't select the quarterback in the draft, which most likely they're going to do as well. Tyrod Taylor, the over-under on regular season wins for the Chargers is 8. What do you think about that, Cam?
8 flat as the over-under for the Chargers. Give me, as much as I hate to do it, give me the under simply because I think the Raiders are going to do well in that division. Obviously, the Kansas City Chiefs are there. So I think they're going to have a tough time all around. And obviously the quarterback situation there. I mean, Keenan Allen, their best receiver, is getting a little old. We know him to be injury prone. They don't have Melvin Gordon, even though their backup that they signed, Austin Eckler, is good enough to be a starting running back. I just don't like overall the pieces that go into play.
I'm going to go over, and the reason why I'm going to go over is because I believe in Tyrod Taylor. I believe in their head coach, Anthony Lynn. I think it's Nick that's over there, not Joey, right? Joey Bosa's in. Joey
Bosa is on the Chargers. Nick Bosa.
Yeah, so Joey. So right, sorry.
Is on the 49ers.
I believe in Joey Bosa. That defense is really, really good. They're stout. So I believe as long as Tyrod Taylor doesn't commit the turnovers, I think that they get over 8 wins. I don't know necessarily if that's going to be good enough in the AFC West competing with Kansas City and, everybody else that's in that division. But I do think they go over. I do believe in Anthony Lynn. Their coach is a really good coach, and let's see if they end up going over 8 wins on the season. The second team is somebody that's in their division as well, and you got the Denver Broncos, and they're at 7.5, Cam. And I'm going to take the lead on this one, and I think they go under on this one. I don't see it happening for them.
So we're flip-flopping here. I went over last time. I went under last time. You went over on the Chargers. We're still flipping here on the Broncos. You're saying under. I'm actually saying over. You said what, 7.5? Yeah,
I'm going under 7.5. I mean, Drew Lock is their quarterback. Even though they did get Melvin Gordon, I think their secondary is still suspect. You do have Von Miller, which is great, but what else? I mean, on that defensive side of the ball, what other playmaker do you have other than him? He's a great pass rusher, always has been. He brings it every Sunday, Monday, Thursday, wherever he has to play, he brings it. But I think he really doesn't have any help. There's no real offensive weapons on that side of the ball other than Melvin Gordon. Lindsey's too hot and cold, disappears a lot during games. Drew Lock hasn't convinced me. If you're asking me, would I rather have Drew Lock or Tyrod Taylor, I'd rather have Tyrod Taylor.
Okay, respect. I haven't seen enough of Drew Lock in order to make that assumption, which is another reason why I'm going over. Obviously, like you said, they got Melvin Gordon, so some more help coming in. They do have Philip Lindsay, who I like a lot that you mentioned. As far as their weapons in the pass game, they do have Cortland Sutton, who I think is a good wide receiver. They have some other younger guys coming through the pipeline. They'll probably make a move for one in the draft here. They do have Noah Fant, the tight end, who I like a lot. Last year was a rookie who did well at the end of the season, but I'm being very optimistic about them. Obviously, defense, like you said, was their issue overall last year. So I think it really can go in one direction this year, which is up. And I always take the over on Denver simply because if they have a good team, it's tough to play in Denver. That's one of the toughest places to play due to the altitude. So I like them. That's just a little sneaky. That usually gives them a win or two each year, simply the altitude. So I think they could win the 6 games that aren't with that to create over 7.5.
Now we're going to go to the NFC West, and we're going to start off with the Seattle Seahawks, who are 9.5 over-under wins. Cam, you take the lead on this one. Tell me what you think about 9.5 over-under wins for Seahawks.
Yeah, I would say that the Seahawks over under on the regular season wins has been over 9.5 the last 5 years. Right, they've been a great team for the better half of the decade, ever since Russell Wilson stepped into the helm there and Pete Carroll. It's tough because again they're in a tough division and it's not easy in the NFL to get 10 wins. I'll be optimistic. I'll go over simply because I like their running back situation. I like Rashad Penny. I like Chris Carson. Terrible what happened to him in the playoffs, the first game.
Yeah, terrible. I'm gonna go
No.
over, and the reason why I'm gonna go over is because I believe in Pete Carroll. I believe in Russell Wilson. I think that Russell Wilson does a good job of making players around him better. I feel like their running game will get back because they got to that point where they needed to go get Marshawn Lynch towards the end of the year because their running backs were destroyed and they ended up getting hurt. So their starting running back and their backup was hurt. They ended up going with Travis Homer and Marshawn Lynch, who had to come out of retirement to pretty much help them out.
Right.
So I think Seattle ends up getting over the 9.5 wins. I think they end up in a back and forth battle with the next team that we're going to get into, and that's going to be the defending NFC West champions, the San Francisco 49ers, I believe. They won.
Yeah, the
They
49ers. And last note on the Seahawks, if you're a fantasy player, DK Metcalf. I think he's going to have an unreal year, DK Metcalf for the Seattle Seahawks. Now, the 49ers.
The 49ers are 10.5.
10.5. I'll say under on 10.5. Simply because I think the Seattle Seahawks are going to take reins in that division once again. I think they'll win, if not 2 games, they'll at least split 1-1 with the 49ers. I need to look at the schedule of the 49ers to be a little bit more sure on under 10.5. But my gut tells me that being that they were a Super Bowl team last year, that they're going to have a tough schedule. That usually is how it works. So I'll take the under on 10.5. I don't think Jimmy G has enough, especially since now they don't have Emmanuel Sanders, to push it over 10.5 wins. I'll take the under.
I think it's going to go under as well. I agree with you. We're finally on the same page on this one. I think Jimmy G makes a few more mistakes this year. Usually, like you said, losing Emmanuel Sanders, Deebo Samuels, and a couple of those guys are really, really good. George Kittle's really good as well. But I do think that Seattle ends up maybe, taking the reins over in that division and they become the first place team. Even though San Francisco definitely has a chance to make the playoffs. Great division to be in. And the last team on the over-under is going to be your Green Bay Packers with Aaron Rodgers and the boys. You got Matt LaFleur, who's the head coach. What do you think about your Packers? I'll let you take the lead since it's your team.
Well, I mean, this was supposed to be the year 2 under new head coach Matt LaFleur and the new organization, the front office, new GM, the whole polished new staff there in Green Bay. So this second year was supposed to be the year that we had this past year. Nobody really thought this past year the Packers were going to go 13-3 and make it to the NFC Championship. So it was a little heartbreaking seeing how that year ended, but this was supposed to be the year that we had last year. So just based off of how we did last year, how surprisingly well we did, I think this year we take not the next step, but at least are on a lateral move and continuing from what we did last year. I'm not saying we go 13-3 because we do have a tough schedule. I think we play Kansas City on the road. I think we play like the Rams on the road. I think we have a tough go at it this year. But it's 9.5. Give me the over. I'll be a homer. I'll say we win 10 games this year.
I think you guys go over too. I'm not 100% sure whether you guys are going to choose a quarterback in the draft. Maybe Aaron Rodgers' successor. I like Jordan Love in that pick if that ends up being the case.
Mm-hmm.
I think Aaron Rodgers is good enough. 100%. The running attack, the wide receivers.
Defense.
Finally got a defense. I mean, maybe you can clean up the special teams stuff a little bit. But other than that, they're a well-rounded team. I don't believe in Kirk Cousins getting the job done over there. Now losing Stephon Diggs as well. You only got Adam Thielen that's over there. So
I think the Lions are going to be the team that bugs the Packers this year in that division.
Yeah, but I still think it's going to end up being the Green Bay Packers winning that division. I got them going over the 9.5 wins. I think the Lions are the sleeper team. Maybe the Lions can compete with Minnesota and flip-flop with them. But I don't know. I'm rooting for Matt Patricia, but this might be like he might be the coach on the hot seat in that division without question.
Yeah, this is his third year, and usually it's your third year where it's like, all right, show us something that we could build on, or we're out. So we're gonna get to the promo, and then Marcus Mack, we're gonna get to Social Media Monday. So this part of the show is brought to you by ElCubanoSandwichShop.com. Use the promo code EAC and receive discounts on online pickups or delivery orders. Enjoy a cafe con leche or a natural pre-workout shot of that Cuban coffee to start your day. The daily lunch specials and their steak sandwich is next level. Once again, use the promo code EAC. That's ElCubanoSandwichShop.com or 954-906-5110. Remember, use the promo code EAC, and that's El Cubano Sandwich Shop in Coral Springs. I went to El Cubano, what's today? Today's Monday. I was there Saturday, and they have these little squares or like little asterisks on the floor, like to make sure that everybody's socially distancing. Really?
So what I did is I just played hopscotch from one piece of tape to the next one. That's how I moved to get my order, you know?
That's great. Yeah, I'm sure once they had the Capacito in you, that hopscotching was coming pretty easy to you. Yeah, Publix and a lot of shopping grocery stores are doing the same thing. They're putting tape on the floors to make sure that at the lines people aren't standing too close. So we got to do whatever we can here to help ourselves in this situation.
Yeah, absolutely. Now today, we normally do our Social Media Mondays every Monday. Marcus Mack, I know you got a couple topics that you, myself, and Cam have been going back and forth over the weekend, sending each other through social media. So let's start off with those Social Media Monday topics.
Yeah, we got is Cam a good fit for the Patriots? South Korean baseball league starts players wearing face masks. Manchester City player investigated for sex party.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
A sex and orgy, right?
Yeah, sex orgy. Yep.
Yeah, crazy. Mexican company shuts down beer production amid coronavirus.
I mean, we're gonna get to this topic about the sex party because we're starting out with, I believe, the Cam Newton topic. But man, with this coronavirus going on, I mean, he's putting himself at risk to catch a different virus with that sex party.
That's a whole definition of risking it all. Like literally, like you know what I'm saying?
Bush Light virus that he's gonna get.
That's going all out. That's basically like whatever I get, right?
Yeah.
So the first topic on Social Media Mondays, and we saw it, was basically Cam Newton and people claiming that they feel like Cam Newton isn't a good fit in New England. Now, Cam, I'll let you take the lead on this because I know you and I both have different opinions on the subject.
Yeah, we have different opinions here. I believe to have the correct opinion. This might have been 2 weeks ago that we were talking about this, where I said that it wouldn't work in New England because Cam Newton is not a system kind of guy. He's not a Bill Belichick system kind of guy. He's not a guy that's going to be the clock in, clock out leader, the voice leader that he wants and needs. He has anti-Belichick, I think, written all over his game. He's the kind of guy that has a long-term memory. He doesn't have short-term memory. To be a quarterback in the NFL, you need short-term memory. You need to be able to throw an interception on the field and still keep your head in the game. When he throws an interception or makes a mistake, his body language is written all over him. It gets to him way too quickly. He's not as posed as he needs to be to work in the system in New England. So that's really the underlining or reason of why I think it won't work out. There was a point at this past year. It was a frustrating year for the Panthers, but early on in the year, I think it was at the end of 2 seasons ago, they were in a game, the Panthers, and they were winning by 8 points, and it was the beginning of the fourth quarter, and he threw a pick, and you thought that they were down by 14. Like, you need to be able to keep posed, and that's why I don't think he'll work in a system, because he's not mentality right for a Bill Belichick-led team.
Marcus Mack, I don't do this too often. I play it safe. I always, when we're on this show, I'm really close to the cuff. I think I've only gone against the grain only on the Michael Irvin situation. But in this case, Cam, I have to tell you that you're utterly and completely wrong. I think, in my opinion, that Cam Newton is a number 1 overall pick. And the last time Bill Belichick had a number 1 overall pick, it was Drew Bledsoe. Bill Belichick has been so good as a coach that he can't get top players to come to him because he's always winning. It's basically like a situation with Greg Popovich and the San Antonio Spurs. Greg Popovich was blessed with David Robinson, and then they lost, and he was blessed with Tim Duncan, and then he didn't have another number 1 pick for God knows how many years, and he ended up winning 5 championships. That's exactly what happens when you have really, really good coaching. So Bill Belichick, in my opinion, will be more than thankful to have somebody of Cam Newton's physical attributes that he brings. Now, I don't disagree with a lot of the stuff that you said about how Cam is, not that guy that be the first to clock in and the last to leave. I really do think that if Cam was in that Belichick system or that environment, he would have to be, because Belichick wouldn't allow anything else.
It's funny that you say that, because that model is exactly what brings guys like Randy Moss and Michael Floyd and guys like that to the AB, Antonio Brown, to the Patriots in the first place, because he has a sit down, I'm sure, Belichick, and says, if you're right X's and O's wise for this football team, then you need to be mentally right for this football team. And I'm sure he paints the picture to where he says, if you're not this, this, and that, then it won't work here. So I'm sure Cam Newton would get himself in that position. All I'm saying is, against your argument, you saying he was the first pick at some point, a lot of logic teams will do that, say, hey, at one point, this guy was the number 1 pick in the draft. But at what point in the conversation or throughout a player's career does that not hold weight anymore? He was a first pick in 2011 draft. It's been 9 or 10 years. When at some point are we going to say he's damaged goods?
But there's a difference between a player performing at their best and a player performing hurt, trying to perform at their best. Everybody knows it in all circles that Cam Newton's been hurt for the past couple of years, and he's just been trying to play through it because he wants to be there for his guys. So in all actuality, you're not getting Cam at his best. You're not getting him at 100%.
Right.
So in my opinion, do I think if Cam's 100%, would he be a good fit in New England? I think that Bill Belichick he's so good of a coach that he could take slapdick XFL players and make them good in his system.
You're not wrong. And Cam Newton, trust me, I like him. I think he's a great quarterback. I think he's a good fit in all 32 teams, but I don't think he's the right fit for many of those teams. A good fit is because he's a good quarterback and you can make it work. But Bill Belichick, we talked about this, he wants a young, flashy guy like a Pat Mahomes or Lamar Jackson. Cam Newton sort of plays that style of game. He's a gunslinger. He throws outside of the pocket. He uses his legs when he needs to. I think he'll be a bridge quarterback in order for him and his staff to learn how to use a guy like that, so then he can get a younger version of him. I think that could be the case.
I think in all seriousness, I think that Belichick would not take not one of these quarterbacks that's in the draft right now, because he knows he don't have time to babysit. He needs somebody to come in and do his thing. Now, he can go draft somebody anywhere between the 2nd and 4th round and then mold them to take over the team. But no, he don't got time for that.
Is he looking to rebuild or is he looking to reload? Because if he's looking to rebuild, then he can waste his time and babysit with some of these guys if the talent is there. But if he's looking to win now,
Belichick look like the type of coach that rebuilds?
Probably not. He tries to amp up this whatever system he has, but I mean, there is a difference between rebuilding and starting fresh with a new quarterback after 20 years. I mean, it's hard to take the stance of we always reload, never rebuild. But 20 years, Emilio, how do you not rebuild somehow?
Because he's that good. That's why. Listen, this is a great topic. I wish we could go on and on and on. We got so much other stuff to cover. Marcus Mack, the second one that we're going to talk about was what?
Excuse me. I'm looking up the topics. That's really what
with us.
Topics right now. South Korean baseball league starts with players wearing masks.
Shout out to the guys in South Korea for actually trying to put something together. Now, what they ended up doing is and this is what the image that everybody's seeing on social media and on the internet. They're seeing a scrimmage that they tried to do with the players wearing masks while they're playing the scrimmage. It's not an actual game. So it was a scrimmage that they were trying to play. It didn't work. The players couldn't play with the mask. They said, F it, we're just going to take the mask off and we're going to keep playing. So they're actually playing the baseball games without the mask. They're trying to get it going, trying to start the season. Shout out to the people of South Korea for tackling this coronavirus very quickly. They literally have not that many cases. I read the article today with some of the former MLB baseball players, Hank Conger and Straley, that are over there, pitcher and a catcher, talking about how crazy it's been over there, that now there's kids roaming around in like gangs of 40s at the park, just like normal.
Yeah, definitely good on them. If they're able to play without masks and it's safe, then definitely. But I'm ready to adopt South Korean baseball as my new favorite sport because that's the only sport that's going to be played right now. But I have a feeling the reason why there's not many cases in South Korea for coronavirus is because the only way to get, if you're not flying to South Korea, and I'm sure they shut down all the airports amidst this coronavirus scare, the only other way to get to South Korea is through North Korea, and nobody's coming through North Korea. So I'd imagine that they're pretty well off in South Korea. So it's good to see that they're getting back to regular life and sports.
Shout out to the people of South Korea for making it happen, trying to put some sports together. We enjoy that a lot. It actually gives an emphasis on whether Major League Baseball should do the same thing or not. So we'll see how that ends up going. I know that you mentioned that President Trump did have a conference call with a lot of commissioners in different types of sports, trying to figure out when would be a good date to actually start playing games and getting fans into the stands. So we'll see how that ends up happening.
Yeah, a lot of people thought that was a waste of time. I mean, President Trump is really trying to tackle this from all angles, and he knows that people look at sports as a way to sort of get away from the everyday stresses. So he made an attempt and tried to see when and if we can get that set up for the people to watch sports again. So I don't hurt him. I'm not dinging him for that, but I think he knows deep down that we're not going to have it for a good time here, at least through the summer.
And the third topic, Marcus Mack.
Manchester City. This is the topic I think we all want to laugh at right now. Manchester City player investigated for sex party.
Shout out.
I don't know whether he's just having a whole lot of fun or this was just really irresponsible.
Shout out to Kyle Walker for literally just like not giving an F about anything. Like I wish this was on F It Friday's episode instead of Social Media Monday's episode, because Kyle Walker literally is laying it all on the line amidst coronavirus and all. Doesn't care about COVID-19. Give him 18, 17, 16, 15. He don't give a damn.
No social distancing for him.
Good for him, man. You know what? Party it up. Have a good time. Remain safe. I'm sure he wore a full body condom. But you gotta get it in whenever you can get it in, Emilio. That's it.
That's like that. I don't know if you can pull it up, Marcus Mack. That's like that that movie, The Naked Gun, where Leslie Nielsen and his older lady wanted to practice safe sex, and they came in full body condoms practicing safe sex. So I mean, Kyle Walker, shout out to you, man. But like, damn, homie, like, really? Amidst the coronavirus, you're a named person. You in England. Football fans are nuts out there. Soccer fans are nuts out there. You're going to get caught in some way, shape, or form. They ratted on you. The tabloids had your story. You had to come out and apologize. You couldn't even deny it. Like, it's a wrap. Great.
Yeah, that's got to be so embarrassing for him. I mean, I'm sure he just got tired of his right hand in those lonely nights. But he probably was showing up to those orgies in a full body, in like an industrial garbage bag, just with a hole cut out for his head. 2 heads, actually.
Crazy. Marcus Mack, the last topic on Social Media Monday.
He came wrapped up like Jamie Foxx in Booty Call. That's the only thing I could have pulled up just now. Oh man. Mexican company shuts down beer production amid coronavirus.
I cannot believe that the Mexican government actually shut down production of the actual beer Corona because of this coronavirus pandemic. This is insane. For the people that actually think that you can get the coronavirus from drinking Corona beer, goddamn, shame on you. Like, what is wrong with you, man?
Yeah, it's unthinkable, and damn, no más cervezas. Well, por favor, please.
You could go to Dos Equis, but Corona is more popular than Dos Equis. Like,
you know what? I actually like Modelo more than Corona and Dos Equis. I like Modelo.
I love Coronas, just for the record.
See, there you go. Marcus Mack ain't gonna stop drinking them.
Yeah, I love Coronas.
So hold on, they shut down this beer factory because people are not drinking Corona anymore?
Yes.
Is that for real?
Just because they wanted to avoid any negativity towards the production of Corona because of the coronavirus pandemic.
You know that even when all this passes over and people, and this whole scare is behind us, if and when it happens, Corona, I feel like they're never going to be back to 100%. They'll rebound, and I'm sure they'll have promotions and they'll do something to a PR extent to where they can get themselves back. But in 2050, when this is way behind us, every time someone has Corona, they're going to have a flashback. They're going to think about this.
The company that owns Corona is actually Grupo Modelo. They're the company that makes the beer, and they announced it on Twitter that they are going to suspend production of Corona because of this. This is crazy. But if you go on New York Times and you look it up on New York Times YouTube, I think I showed you this, that the Mexican people in Mexico, they just acted normal. They're hugging people. They're hanging out. Everything's back. They're not in their house. There's no stay at home for them. They're chilling. They're having a good time. Restaurants open, all types of stuff.
Damn, I'm jealous. Good for them. I wish I was in Cozumel right now drinking a Corona or a Sol or a Modelo Negro, Dos Equis, Amber, or Lager.
Here you go. Look at you. You're a drinker, huh?
No, Victorian. Man. I love Mexican style beer, and man, I'm jealous right now. We've been laying out.
Marcus Mack, you got anything else to add, man?
Damn.
You can see the glow in his eyes.
Just thinking about a cold one.
Nah, man, I'm quite sure y'all can tell I'm like really beat right now between going to the grocery. I've never been so exhausted going. I went to like 3 or 4 different grocery stores today.
You suit up? You put a hazmat suit on?
I'm tired of seeing these old people in the grocery store. They go in the grocery store, they wear gloves, they wear masks, they take their gloves and they throw the gloves on the floor in the parking lot. It's driving me nuts.
This is something that irritated me. Now, first of all, there's a way to handle the gloves and the mask. People are taking their gloves off, they're throwing them everywhere. They're touching stuff with their gloves and then still fixing their mask and picking up their phone and talking on the phone. Like, what is the point of you doing it in the first place?
Tell them why you mad, Marcus Mack. Tell them why you mad.
Oh, my God. Yo, listen, everybody who's watching this show right now can see I've been tired the entire show. And I'm just like, oh, man, the stuff that I've seen today is incredible.
I know we're going to get a Tell them why you mad Marcus Mack segment, Cameron. I know we're going to get one of those.
And they'll hard on them. Because everybody knows I'm not a real sports guy. But if I go to talking about something, they're going to be like, oh, he has a mouthpiece on him.
Hey. Marcus, are they using hand sanitizer? What's good?
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Publix does a good job of having the hand sanitizer at the actual cash register for customers or for even the workers themselves. So yes, they do have it there.
Yeah, but nothing makes sense to me because they have on these gloves, right? They have on the gloves. They're touching things that's supposed to be, whatever. So if these gloves are contaminated, you're taking these same gloves and you're touching the meat and putting it back. I watched
wiping your ass with the gloves.
Bro, my God. Bro, listen. I watched someone check.
Marcus Mack has woke up.
Gloves. Bro, listen. They have the gloves on. And when you check your eggs, you open your eggs to check to see if it. I watched somebody check the eggs with the gloves and then put the eggs back. No! Pick up those eggs. Buy them now. Don't put
Those
them
are your
back.
eggs.
Those are your eggs. You bought them. It's over. Bro, listen,
I absolutely love it. I absolutely love it.
I've been frustrated.
Marcus Mack, let's continue this rant. This is going to conclude episode 24.
This is my COVID-19 rant. Stop using gloves the wrong way.
I appreciate you guys. Check us out, episode 25. Click like, subscribe on YouTube. Subscribe and like on all podcast platforms. We'll see you episode 25. Marcus Mack, please call me right after this is done so we can continue this COVID-19 coronavirus rant. I appreciate it.
I got you.
I'm going to go enjoy a Corona.
Later.
Oh, sugar honey iced tea. It's the EAC show.